more and more in these units of protection or gangs. What's that about? So we'll introduce you to Mr. Campbell. We also want to talk to you, Mr. President, about some of the trainings that CCD, Community Capacity Development, that's the organization I founded, that we provide. We provide human justice training, we provide diplomacy training, we provide what's called sustainable growth planning. So with your permission, sir, we're going to proceed and get into it. I want to introduce you first to Mr. Bryant.
How you doing, Mr. President?
Mr. Bryant is
Good to meet you.
a trainer. He's a Queensbridge.
I tell you what, man, that man's got some guns.
That's right. No more guns. No more guns.
No. I mean, he's guns. He's guns. Poor choice of words.
So, Mr. President, as my mentor and the ED has explained, my name is Shizam Bryant. I'm the field training specialist. And my role at Community Capacity Development is to bring these trainings to the community and the young people and the staff. We have a host of different trainings. I can't get into all of them, but I'm going to just touch on one of the ones that K. Bain has mentioned, which is a sustainable growth plan. That's my favorite because he designed this plan to foster self-discipline. And it's broken up into 3 categories. One is aspiration mapping, one is building bridges, and one is content management. Aspiration mapping is basically setting goals. But the thing about aspiration mapping, we touch on the humanity of people because we're a human justice site. So we deal with the 6 basic human needs, and we address those. Then we set some goals. Then we do bridge building, listing contacts of people that can help you with your goals, listing contacts of people like the president that you want on that list to help you with your goals. And the last one is content management. This is highly important because this is the health and wellness for your mentality. And once you change the mentality, that's what we really use to get through.
Changing mindset. So imagine goal setting, right? I remember being 15 and I was in a fist fight. I was a failed violence interrupter. I went to break up a fist fight. I got into the fist fight. I had no training. I didn't know what I was doing. Next thing I know, I'm in a courtroom and a judge is saying I could spend 15 years in prison. I was 15 years old. So without the skill set or without the training, I had the heart to do it. I wanted to be a part of peacemaking, but because I didn't have the training, I couldn't do it. Also, at the age of 15, I was told that I would not live to see 25 years of age, that was not my life expectancy. If I did, I would be in prison. That's not unusual for us to hear in Black and brown communities. So when you take a young person and you say, let's get your 10-year plan, let's work on your 3-year plan and your 1 year. Let's set benchmarks. That's goal setting. It sounds simple, Mr. President, but it's not happening in our communities enough. The second portion that Mr. Bryant laid out was building bridges. That's about social capital. So everybody doesn't know that they can call their elected official when they have issues. Everybody doesn't understand. My mother used to say, show me your friends, and I'll show you where you're going. I'll show you where you're going to end up. So we really focus on the networks and net worth of those networks. The last part, I think, is the most important, content management. Because we have to get young people who have access to guns, who don't have access to spaces and places to thrive. We have to get them to understand the power of their minds, that there's personal responsibility that they have to take, that thoughts become things. So sometimes we talk to young people about how much time they spend listening to certain music or going to certain movies or watching certain shows, just so we can keep a peg on what are you feeding your mind. And those are the 3 parts of the SGP tool. Any questions before we talk to our gang specialist, Mr. President?
No, I've done a lot of work in this area, but I want to hear it more.
Okay. So, Mr. Campbell, gang specialist, community liaison supervisor.
Peace. How you doing, Mr. President?
Let's see, man.
My name.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
We in the hood, so you know.
I'm a little stronger now. But my name is Emmanuel Campbell, and my role at CCD is bring groups of people that usually don't be together. What that entails is peace treaties, mediation, and understanding. We have a special group within our organization called CLs, which stands for Community Liaisons. Now, their job is to go into different inner city communities and build relationships throughout New York City and New York State. Build relationships, get intel, grab data, and bring it back to our organization so we can sit down and debrief and see how we can go into these rural areas in the inner city communities and provide the best support. Now,
Hold on 1 second. On that point, that's not an everybody job, Mr. President. Everybody can't be a community liaison. You got to be born with the gift. You got to have a certain type of, you have to know how to be in a room and just kind of, do things without talking sometimes. You got to be like a James Bond kind of character. So the training is about diplomacy. A community liaison, and we created that position to work around the city of New York so that you can say, you know what, I'm here, but I'm not here I'm here to support quietly. Right? A community liaison knows how to be in places that are very tricky and hairy and not escalate situations. So we see people that have that kind of innate ability, but we also try to work on them with their skill sets to develop it a little more.
You like to be an ambassador?
Yeah. That's what he is. That's what it is. Yeah. And I don't want to embarrass the brother. So Woodside and Queensbridge houses have a rivalry that goes back. It's like the Montagues and the Capulets. They don't even know sometimes why they're shooting and killing at each other. And it just so happens Mr. Campbell's from a team in Woodside, right? We're not going to say a gang, but a team in Woodside that had beef with teams in Queens. And so him coming on the team, they said, no way, don't do that, K-Bang. Do not bring someone from that side to this side. And he's been probably one of the most important hires we've ever made. Because he's the bridge. He has that skill set. So whether we're in Harlem, with I used to say cool, or if we're in the Bronx with groups up there, this gentleman knows how to navigate, and he has the influence and credibility to get us peace agreements. And once you're in a state of peace, then we can talk. Now we can kind of sort through, what is this about? Is taking another life going to end this situation or just keep us going? So very crucial to our work, our human justice work, is the community liaison. Ambassador, as you said, Mr. President.
I used to have a close friend who was a hell of a national basketball player. And he used to say, you got to know how to know. You got to know how to know. I can walk you into the Library of Congress. You don't know how to read the card catalog. It's of no value to you. You got to know how to know.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Let's go this way, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. President. We're going to talk about education. We are in PS 111, and we're very happy and fortunate to be here. This is a phenomenal place of learning. You know, and I've heard you speak in the not-so-distant past about some of the disparities in education, especially in communities of color, health disparities and others, but specifically in education. Well, when you get leadership in a school that immediately buys into this human justice approach to dealing with conflict, I'm going to let Principal Jagan describe our relationship over the past few years and what we've been able to accomplish. Just want to say again, our mayor is here. And part of the success we know that's going to happen moving forward in New York City is because before this gentleman was elected, he said, K-Bane, I get it, and he got it. He's one of the people that comes out with us on deployments, sees it firsthand, kind of like you're doing here today, right? But it's important when leadership right away, not 6, 7, 8 years later, but right away gets it, and Principal Jagan can describe what the outcomes look like when that happens.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
What are the grades here?
I'm sorry?
What are the ages in this school?
Oh, this is a community school, pre-K to 8.
Pre-K to 8.
Yes, so welcome. And Mr. President, as you know, education is the foundation for success. It builds confidence, it creates character, and it sets the foundation for learning. And we have the greatest teachers here that are imparting that knowledge on our children. We have approximately 300 scholars here, and I know them all. With the collaboration with K-Bane and CCD, we have worked to bring the resources from the community inside of our school. And we have to recognize, as leaders, our role is to make more leaders. And that only happens when we step into the community. I can tell you the impact of when I walk into Queensbridge, and similar to what you said, with my cell phone, and the children see me in their neighborhoods, and they're like, oh, that's Ms. Jagan. When I come back to school, that builds trust and confidence. And education breaks down those barriers, but that can only happen when we're careful and we bring those resources right into school. In our school, I'm very happy to say that community capacity development, they're here every day doing conflict mediation, supporting our dismissal. We understand that's a critical part of the instructional day. We have the best teachers teaching. I can hear my superintendent, Dr. Philip Composto, saying, build community. As a leader, I recognized very early in my principalship that community partnerships is the way to go. We have our scholars here, grades 1 to 4, they all have bank accounts. They need to understand that education provides them choice. What better place to begin that? Having money for college right here with NYC Kids Rides. And I'm proud to say that that started right here in Community School Education District 30 under the leadership of our superintendent, the support of our partners. And as a principal, we've learned how to manage our partnerships and bring them in. Our scholars receive free dental in the school. Our scholars also have a pantry. The parents can shop for food in the school. When they need glasses, vision, they're getting headaches, we provide it to them free of charge in the school. So what we've done as a community, as a team, we've taken away the barriers because we can have the best teachers, the best principal. But learning will not happen. Learning cannot happen when we're faced with those barriers. When I'm hungry, my teeth hurts, I have a headache. When I can have people working with me and understanding that goal and that challenge and how real it is, and we can eliminate that, learning can happen. And I see my children building confidence. They can speak, they can articulate, they can use their words. I want to thank you for that with the mediation, getting the power of language. And one of our instructional focus here is making thinking visible. And we do that through discussion. And I always tell them, when you can choose where you live, when you can choose where you want to go for higher education, when you can choose who you speak with, when you can choose who you partner with, things become so much better and so enlightened. And as a principal, as an educator, as a teacher, I recognize the importance of doing that with our teachers, doing that with our partnerships, bringing in robotics, having financial literacy, the critical thinking skills, all of that necessary to make good humans. Violence will stop.
Yes.
It starts here. School is magical. This is where we learn. This is where the imagination can grow. This is where we have fun. We are a community school of multimedia, communication, and arts. That is led by our positive behavior director, Mr. Murray, who supports us. That is also supported by our assistant principal, Ms. Ham, who focuses on vocabulary and literature with our teachers and scholars. I have an amazing data specialist that has tracked our impact throughout the years. As a school, we went from being persistently dangerous to a school in good standing. And that happens with the power of partners.
Can you say that again? As a school, we went from...
Persistently dangerous. When I was given the privilege of becoming the principal of the Jewel of Long Island City, this school was persistently dangerous. Mr. President...
How is that defined, consistently dangerous?
So the city, New York City, had a marker with the VADAR index, the violence index. When I took over the school, the index was 3.2. Persistently dangerous at that time was 1.5. So I was more than double. The following year, we went down to 2.0. Still persistently dangerous, so I'm bearing that weight. And I'm thinking, what can I do to remove that stain, to get our children learning, to get them wanting to be here? The third year, we went down to 0.9. No longer persistently dangerous. Here comes Kay Bain, helping us with that work.
Tell me what constitutes dangerous. You mean fights in schools,
Fights
kids
in
with
school,
guns in schools?
Guns in school, fights in schools, children hurting each other, children getting injured, looking differently than they came in and leaving looking another way. It makes the school different. Now when we come in, it's a happy place. Children are smiling. I get hugs and kisses. I can't tell you, the little ones are at my ankles. The big ones are over here. Just a little story of one of my 8th grade scholars. She's now the president of our scholar government. She's been here the entire time with me. When we first got to know each other, she was little. I think she was in 2nd grade. She wouldn't speak, very shy. Through the years of us being together, working with the partners, seeing the familiar faces in the school, her confidence has built. Now she's making choices. She campaigned in the school. She put up her signs. She gave out treats. She ran a very solid campaign and was elected. And she takes her position very seriously. And she advocates for the scholars in our school. She tells me what's needed. But that happened because of our work. She has choice
What
now.
kind of participation do you have from parents?
We created those structures. So we made it so that we communicate with their parents in their language. So they have different opportunities because we recognize that different parents have different needs. So we have participation in morning with our principal's breakfast that we host. We have academic parents who come to our academic parent-teacher teams where we share the data, the academic data.
But do they show up?
They come. So here's the thing, Mr. President. We have parents who come to the events that are celebratory. Their children are singing and dancing because we are an art school. And then we have the academic parents that come in. We would like more participation, of course, and we need that help.
We have an old expression where I come from, don't kid a kidder.
Yeah,
I know a lot about schools.
yeah,
And one of the most difficult things in schools, where in fact you were persistently dangerous or
Yes.
not, is the lack of participation of the parents. And the parents many times don't have the confidence to even be seen or be involved at all because they can't read or they can't write or they have a background where they have a drug problem or whatever. That's why I asked the question, because I don't know of a school that in fact is doing well that does not have more parent participation.
yeah.
That's why I asked the question. I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just trying to
I
understand.
understand it, and I appreciate it. I think what you're saying raises the fact that there's an intersectionality around inequity. So education, when done wrong, is violence. When health needs are not met in a community, that's a form of violence. It contributes to the violence. And so that's why it's important in a holistic approach that we call healing justice, human justice work, we consider food apartheid. What food do people have access to? That is something that contributes to violence. So when students don't feel safe, there is no learning. The SGP, the tool that we spoke about, Mr. President, is about taking the individual from survival mode mentality, survival, fight, flight, freeze, into one of creation, where an individual, be it a student, be it an adult, be it a gang member, can start to design and define reality for themselves. And so those are the type of tools and approaches that we use. It's worked here. It's worked in Baltimore, Maryland. Recently, we got a report. We did some training there in, what county were we in? In Edison County in Baltimore, Maryland. 365 days, no shooting, no killing, because we dealt with the mentality, we dealt with the food, we dealt with all of these factors that once upon a time they said was everything under the sun approach. They said, you guys are trying to go after everything, but people are multi-layered, three-dimensional. So we can't just talk about violence and not talk about students feeling safe in schools.
I agree.
We can't talk about violence and not talk about chemical misuse or dependency on substances. We have to talk about all of these things simultaneously if we're going to stop violence from happening in our cities around the country.
And what's being done here with our school, with our families, and being replicated in the district, in our community areas, needs to be replicated across the country for this to work.
Absolutely. I think we got a great example and a model for the nation here. If you wouldn't mind, Brother Cobb, I want to introduce Martin Cobb, Operations Manager, to talk a little bit about our pillars in youth development.
Absolutely.
Some of the metrics.
Peace and blessings to you, Mr. President. Peace and blessings, Mayor Adams. We're lucky that the crisis management system that we speak about, Kay Bain is one of the co-architects. From his mentor's work in the 90s in restorative justice to his work when he was on the city council, drafting the legislation that eventually became the crisis management system. There's three parts to it. He spoke about the anti-gun violence piece. There's also a wraparound services piece where we provide referrals, mental health, education. And the third piece is what we hear today. It's called school mediation. The same staff that we deploy out in those streets that are stopping fights is the staff that we bring in here to prevent the fights. The same staff that's out there that's stopping the conflicts is the same staff that we bring into these schools to prevent conflicts. And the way we do it is we have this thing called 5 pillars. The 5 pillars is actually this: financial literacy, arts and culture, critical thinking, conflict resolution, and health and wellness. All of our programs, activities, are driven on those 5 pillars. And subliminally, to Kay's point, they go back to human rights, human development, and human justice. So we're being creative in our approach and instilling these values in our youth, because the ultimate goal is we want human rights, human development, and human justice for them.
And those are the foundations for community partnerships, the community work that's being done in school. And the wraparound services are essential in schools. Parents need to know that they can come here and just get it and have that worry eliminated so that learning can happen.
The one thing that I've observed over the years is that the more you have the parents involved, the better the shot. The less you have them involved, the harder the shot. Because they may come out of an environment during the day that you're providing. If they go home and mom or dad is in real trouble and they have real problems. One of the things that surprised me, we've done, and all the congressmen and senators behind you know that we found that there's extensive studies done, if you send a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, no matter what background they come from, no matter how dysfunctional the home, you send that child to school, not to daycare, to school, you increase by somewhere between 48 and 56% the chance that they'll go all the way through all 12 years of school and go on beyond that.
Right.
But it is, because up to that time, anyway, that's why I asked so much about the parent involvement.
Sounds like some legislation, Build Back Better, that was passed in November
Well,
that deals
yeah,
with
but
Is
yes
that
and
familiar?
no. I mean, this is even more basic than that. What I'm trying to get at is that it is difficult for a child, no matter what circumstance they're in, for 10 hours a day when they leave home and go to school and go back, if they go back to a totally dysfunctional system in their home. And so that's why I'm asking, you haven't talked at all about the home and what impact that has on what you're doing.
Yep.
Because in most of the neighborhood, I used to work in a neighborhood that was in the projects for years. And you could tell what in fact was likely to be the shot, the kid you were working with, based on the home situation they were in.
Right.
And that's why I ask about, but you've never once mentioned parents.
So outreach workers, right? We talked about community liaisons as a position and what they do, how they make peace agreements. We have what's called outreach workers and violence interrupters. An outreach worker becomes semi-guardian a lot of the times to young people. So our outreach workers will be the ones who will pick up young people, take them from the school. If there's no food at home, then we have a team that makes sure that those basic human needs are being met. Many times, young people will stay in our offices, in our centers, in our spaces, well into the wee hours of the night. We're the ones that say, let's do some homework with you here because your lights are not on at home. So there is a component of the model, and every outreach worker is assigned to a caseload of 10 to 15 young people. Most of the time, these young people are high risk. There's certain things that we check off to say this is a high-risk young person. For example, you have just been involved in the criminal justice system and you're returning. Another example, you have access to a firearm. Another example, what we check off to deem someone high risk is that you're involved in a street organization or gang. But these are